So in this video I want to just introduce some key terminology about the composition of photographs so that you can understand what these words mean, and then you've got some nice strong visual images that relate to that particular term. So let's jump in. So if you've already seen my formal elements, you will understand that the formal elements are what make up a composition. So it's all about how you structurally hang your picture. So it's how you compose your picture. So in this composition here, we've got a nice use of colour. So we've got complementary colours here. We've got the orange and the blue. We've also got the green and the red here as well. And we've got line, and we've got shape, and we've got tone and texture. So all of those are the formal elements, and together they create a balanced composition. Now, central focus is all to do with what is in focus in the picture. So in this photo I've taken here of the bluebells, my central focus has been here in the foreground. So I've focused here, and to do that I've created a shallow depth of field. So that means that the rest of the picture is dropped out of focus, so your eye is led to these points of focus. So angle, or vantage point, or angle of view, this is to do with the position that you are in when you take your photo. So this photo I took here of New York, and it looks like I was precariously hanging here on the Brooklyn Bridge, but believe me, I wasn't. I'm very scared of heights, so I was safely positioned, but I just leaned over slightly, and this then created this sort of interesting dramatic angle of view here. So you can see the lines are all drawing to a point here, so it creates this sort of vanishing point. So think about your vantage point when you take your photos. It can really exaggerate the mood in the picture and make angles really dramatic and make something look very large if you are photographing from below looking up, or if you are above looking down, then that can make something look quite a bit smaller and really can alter the perspective. Rule of thirds. Now this is the idea that imagine your picture has been broken up into 9 equal parts. So this photo here that I took at Tate Modern when I was working there, and I think this was the opening of Tate Modern, I've used this grid almost, so it works really well to show the rule of thirds. So this is taken from inside the gallery, looking out across to St Paul's, and almost the gallery floor mimics the actual surface and texture of the River Thames there as well. But imagine when you're taking your pictures, imagine that it's been split into 9 equal sections, okay, so that your horizon will either fall along one of these lines here or along the top. And then also when you're structuring your picture, when you have your intersections where they cross over, think about, you know, positioning someone there, or something within your composition is emphasized at these points. So the rule of thirds actually helps you to create a very sort of balanced, natural looking picture. So do avoid putting the horizon in the middle here. It never really works. It works much better if it's on one of the third at the bottom, or either 2/3 at the top, and that can really, you can emphasize your skyline. If you have 2/3 of your image is sky and 1/3 is the actual foreground and the land, or vice versa, you can have more of the land here and then the sky just the top third here. And if you're shooting on your phone or shooting on your digital SLR, then try and use the grid which is available, and you can keep it open so you can use that to carefully compose your images and use the rule of thirds rule in your work. Framing. Now that's all to do with what do you want to be emphasised in the photo. So the photographer constantly, carefully frames and crops their image. So in this photo that I took here, which was taken during lockdown, this image shows the power of touch, and it really emphasises the importance of human touch and human connection. So I wanted the focus to be here, I wanted the rest to drop out of focus so that we are drawn to the hands, and it also emphasises the texture and the surface of the skin, the hands holding each other. Background. So this is what we call, so the background of the picture is what is often in the furthest distance of your picture. So this photo here, the figure here, which is one of my ex-students, he is just walking along here, but he's in the background, and so that is the focus there, and then the foreground is quite clear, so you're drawn to his silhouette here, and you've got the sun here and a lovely sort of flare burst as well. The foreground is when the focus is in the foreground. So here I've taken this picture of the buttercups. Now I've taken this photo from a very low vantage point, so I'm shooting across the grass there, right in close, so it really emphasises those in the foreground. And you can see it's a very shallow depth of field, so you get this sort of dreamy, painterly quality, and the rest of the buttercups drop out of focus and just become sort of a little blurred motion. Contrast. Now that's all to do with the differences between the light and dark areas. So this photo I took in a cab in New York, and you can see here very strong black contrast here. So you've got the front seat here, and then you've also got here with the windscreen here, so you get this lovely black bar as well. So this is quite a sort of cinematic image, which is what I was trying to sort of emphasize, and it needs the contrast there to really frame and hold the picture. Balance. This is where you want to create either a symmetry in the image or sort of create some sort of symmetry. So in this picture with the two poppies that I've taken, although it's not perfectly symmetrical, there is a sense of balance with the two alongside each other. So it's about really trying to make sure your balance, the composition is balanced and evenly distributed across the picture. So hopefully some of this key terminology will just really help you when you are doing your annotations and reviewing and refining your work. So make sure that you refer to some of these words and think about them as well when you're taking your pictures. Remember, be aware of what you're doing, make it a conscious decision when you're taking your images, so that you are referring back to these keywords.